Chapter 964. The truth back. Then I, seeing Mu Ling burning with fury, the servant took the cane fearfully. After all, it was more horrifying to go against Mu Ling than offending Nancian. However, seeing that even Mu Ling feared Nancian, what more could the servant do? Hence, the servant continued beating Chen Qingyan forcefully. He did not, even the slightest bit, let her off lightly. Whack! When the cane made contact with Chen Qingyan's back, the pain seared through her body that was covered in cold sweats. Tears broke free from her eyes. Chen Qingyan had purposely cried so pathetically just now as she wanted to get Mu Ling here. Now that Mu Ling was here, Chen Qingyan simply could not do anything. She could not help but bite her lower lip and sank into silence. As she had bitten her lips too hard, there was a piece left dangling. Seeing Chen Qingyan so bold and resolute, Mu Ling's heart was completely shattered. Perhaps he was wrong. Back then, Chen Qingyan did not hesitate to risk her own life and save Mu Ling. Hence, he did not want to let her down and had made her his concubine. However, he had never thought that he had actually put her into an abyss of suffering. If Chen Qingyan had never stepped into the Mu family, she would not have gone through all these struggles. Brotherling, I am fine. I have never regretted being together with you. I am willing to go through all these torments. Hearing this, Mu Ling could no longer hold back the anger. His anger overtook his fear. He turned to glare at the two people who were walking through the door. His chest heaved with each angry breath. Nancian and Fengruqing, I have a few words for both of you. Always be kind to one another. God knows what you have done. Evildoers are bound to be punished in the end. Mu Ling did not notice that at this time, a glimmer of vicious light sparkled in Chen Qingyan's eyes. Suyi, Nancian, and Fengruqing, no matter how good you are at playing tricks, and even if Mu Ling is afraid of Nancian, I have countless ways to make him lose his mind. Mu Ling and I have been together for years. I know him too well. I know how to make him feel guilty and heartbroken. Even if he knows that I have sowed the spectral flower and thousand vines orchid, he would still side with me. You can never fight with me for the rest of your lives. Are you talking about both you and Chen Qingyan? Fengruqing paused and looked sideways at Mu Ling. You don't have to tell me all this. I understand. What goes around comes around. Both of you need to pay for all your wrongdoings. Feng, by the way, be careful of everything that you do. When you move your bowel, the toilet might explode and both of you might fall into the cat hole. When you are eating, you might die from choking. Also, when you make a breakthrough, you might die from being struck by lightning. Me for extra chapters. Standing next to Fengruqing, Nancian had secretly kept Fengruqing's words in his mind. Burning with anger, Mu Ling's face turned red. Fengruqing did not even give him a chance to say a word. You don't have to worry about this. Everything that you have said will never happen. If I am wrong for taking concubine, there are simply too many young masters out there who will be screwed for doing the same thing. This is especially true for you. There will be a day of reckoning for what you have done. Fengruqing grinned. Mu Ling sank into silence. He knew that he simply could not do anything to Fengruqing. Otherwise, Nancian would kill him. Moreover, no one in this realm could argue with her. Hence, he said nothing and merely glared at her with his eyes filled with murderous intent. Nancian, let's go. I want to visit the old master to see whether he feels better. Fengruqing turned to look at Nancian. Chapter 965. The Truth Back Then 2 Warning. Please don't eat while reading this chapter. The root cause of the old master's illness had been revealed and uprooted. The old master would recover sooner or later. All right. Nancian looked coldly at Mu Ling. When Nancian's eyes met Mu Ling's, Mu Ling panicked. Just as Mu Ling was about to say something, he could feel a light wind brush the tip of his nose. He could not help but sneeze. Qingyan, don't worry. I will use all the spirit herbs that I have to treat you, and you will get well very soon. Mu Ling squatted down and held tightly onto Chen Qingyan's quivering hands. Chen Qingyan lowered her eyes darkened. She thought that Mu Ling would tell her that he would avenge her at all costs. It turned out that Mu Ling only wanted to heal her wound. However, she was not capable of thinking anything else as the pain all over her body was killing her. She clenched her teeth tightly. Tears streamed down her face. Qingyan. Originally, Mu Ling wanted to give Chen Qingyan a few words of comfort, but he suddenly felt the urge to pass wind. As he could not leave Chen Qingyan alone now, he could not help but fart. Ppfffffffftttt. Mu Ling's face stiffened as he could feel something wet come out from his anus. At the same time, a strong, unpleasant smell was in the air. It was so offensive to the nose that the servant who was beating Chen Qingyan had to turn his face. As the saying goes, sometimes, when someone thinks that they are going to fart, but they accidentally poop instead. Hence, Mu Ling quickly rushed toward the toilet. He did not even say a word to Chen Qingyan. Mu Manor was huge. Naturally, there was no lack of toilets. Mu Ling picked a toilet randomly and squatted down. He felt a mild ache in his growling stomach. However, he was immensely relieved after emptying his bowels. It was so refreshing that he had the urge to sing out loud. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. The whole toilet collapsed to the ground. The feces splashed all over Mu Ling's body. If he had not managed to escape in time, he might have fallen into the cat hole. Me for extra chapters. Panicking greatly, all the servants quickly rushed over only to see the manor master of the Mu family. Mu Ling with his head covered in feces and his eyes were filled with panic. Feng Ruqing walked over slowly from behind, grinning. What goes around comes around. I have told you to be careful when you empty your bowels. The day of reckoning has come way too fast. Did you do that? Mu Ling's face darkened as he snarled. I just passed by. Feng Ruqing shrugged. Mu Ling wanted to ask further, but his stomach was growling again. He could not help but grit his teeth and rush toward another toilet. Simply no one saw that just as Mu Ling left, a ghastly white robe floated after Mu Ling looking like a ghost. Since then, everyone in the Mu family knew that the things that happened Mu Ling were an act of divine retribution. No matter which toilet he went into, the toilet would collapse. Hence, he had been running around with his head covered in feces, and a strong, unpleasant smell lingered in the entire Mu Manor for a long while. In the end, he could not help but resort to the chamber pot. However, before he could finish emptying his bowels, the chamber pot exploded. Once again, all the feces in the chamber pot splashed on his body. A small piece of yellow stool could be seen hanging on the corner of his lips. Disgusting! Finally, Mu Ling exploded in fury. He did not even use the chamber pot and simply pooped on the ground so that the stool did not splash on him. Chapter 966. The truth. Back then 3 Mu Ling did not know what he had eaten. After having diarrhea for 3 days, he was completely exhausted. He quickly took a bath and ate some food. Supposedly, Mu Ling should have lost his appetite after having diarrhea for 3 days. However, he was worn out. He needed to eat something to boost his energy. Just as he took 2 mouthfuls of food, he had accidentally swallowed a bone. The bone was stuck in his throat and had almost choked him to death. In the end, he could not do anything else but use his spiritual qi to drive the bone out of his throat and save his life. Even if there were a variety of delicacies before him, he did not eat any of them. In the end, he got up with the help of a servant. He was extremely weak. Take me to Qingyan's chamber. I want to see her. Mu Ling did not stop rushing to the toilet in the past 3 days. Currently, his chamber was full of stools. As he had not been visiting Chen Qingyan in the past few days, his heart was full of remorse. In the chamber, Chen Qingyan was lying on her bed and could not even move the slightest. Her face was drained of color. Creak. The door was pushed open, and a foul smell drifted in the air. It was so offensive to the nose that Chen Qingyan had nearly thrown up. Even though Mu Ling had freshened up, he had been emptying his bowels for the past 3 days. Moreover, his entire body was constantly covered in poop. Naturally, he could hardly get rid of the foul odor. Qingyan, I am not feeling well these past few days. Hence, I couldn't visit you. Mu Ling quickly walked up to Chen Qingyan. He did not notice the scorn and disdain in Chen Qingyan's eyes. The corner of Chen Qingyan's lips lifted slightly, but she did not shake off his hands. I understand. The servant has told me everything. Qingyan, did they simmer spirit herbs for you? Mu Ling stroked Chen Qingjian's hair. Second manner master does not allow them to simmer spirit herbs for me. Chen Qingyin lowered her eyes to hide the sorrow in her eyes. What is Qingyin playing at? He is my brother. Don't call him second manner master. Hearing this, Mu Ling was slightly indignant. Me for extra chapters. Brother Ling, I know you care for me, but I am nothing but a concubine. I need to observe the rules in the Mu family. I don't care about status. As long as I have you by my side, that's enough. Chen Qingyin shook her head and smiled wryly. Hearing this, Mu Ling was getting more indignant. Ever since Feng Ruqing was here, Mu Qingyin had become so ruthless. Although Mu Qingyin disliked Chen Qingyin before, he would never treat her like this. Qingyin, I am going to get some spirit herbs for you. You just wait for me here. Mu Ling got up and left the chamber. Although Mu Ling had left, the foul smell was still lingering in the chamber. Why? Chen Qingyin lowered her eyes. Her face was contorted in rage. Her eyes were filled with resentment. Her hands were clutching the bedsheet. Chen Qingyin thought that after listening to her words, Mu Ling would avenge her by beating Mu Qingyin up and crippling him. It turned out that Mu Ling only wanted to retrieve the spirit herbs for her. No way. Chen Qingyin had suffered so many injuries. In the end, she had only made Mu Ling feel remorseful and guilty. Chen Qingyin would definitely break the relationship between Mu Ling and everyone in the Mu family. Well, I have plenty of time. Mu Ling can never leave me now. I will definitely make those who lay a hand on me to live a life of misery and suffering. Chen Qingyin loosened her grip on the bedsheet slowly. Her lips curved into a sneer. Chapter 967. The truth back then. For although Mu Qingyin did not allow the people in the Mu family to give spirit herbs to Chen Qingyin, the servants in the spirit herb chamber were too afraid to offend Mu Ling. In the end, they relented and gave Mu Ling some spirit herbs. On the way back to Chen Qingjian's chamber, Mu Ling walked past the old master's chamber. He hesitated for a while and stepped into the courtyard. The old master had moved back to his own chamber in the past few days. However, Mu Ling had not been visiting the old master because of his health. Regardless of whether Chen Qingyin had done it intentionally or not, the old master had gone through so much suffering because of her. Mu Ling must pay the old master a visit no matter what. From afar, Mu Ling could see the old master lying in the armchair, enjoying the sunlight. He looked gentle and benevolent. The dedicated old butler was standing behind him. Old master, your health has improved a lot after eating the herbal dish that Feng Ruqing has prepared for you. Feeling immensely relieved, the old butler broke into a smile. Manor Master is truly blinded by Chen Qingyin. Lady Suyi and young Lady Feng are so kind. The herbal dish that young Lady Feng prepares is different from the spirit herb that the old master had taken previously. Not only has the old master's health improved, but he is also no longer feeling drowsy and is slowly coming back to his senses. Also, young Lady Feng said that you will regain the strength that you have lost earlier. It is just a matter of time. Why is Suyi not here today? The old master got up from the armchair as he turned to look at the old butler. Perhaps Lady Suyi is in the middle of something. The old butler grinned. Even if Suyi did not admit it, she was the only young lady of the Mu family. She promised me that she will never leave the Mu family again. Since I have done the things that I have promised her, Suyi will keep her promise, right? The old master pouted. The old butler did not respond. Lady Suyi will never stay in the Mu family. Perhaps, when the old master has fully recovered, she will eventually leave. However, when the old master has fully recovered, he will no longer behave like a child and throw a tantrum when Lady Suyi leaves. By then, she could leave here without any worries. Me for extra chapters. Old master, Lady Suyi will surely keep her promise. That's great. Back then, that rascal Mu Ling was so badly injured. If not for Suyi, he would have lost his life. Poor Suyi, she had even hid herself from him as she did not want Mu Ling to feel bad. The old master grinned. However, I promise Suyi that I will never tell Mu Ling otherwise. Suyi would be angry and leave the Mu family again. Haha, am I obedient? Old master, you have never gone against Lady Suyi. She knows this very well. The old butler smiled faintly. At this time, he saw Mu Ling, who was standing not far away out of the corner of his eyes. Standing frozen in the wind, Mu Ling tightened his grip on the spirit herbs. He felt as if the air around him had been completely sucked away. He had fallen into danger twice. The first time was when someone tried to kill him. It was a near-death experience. In the end, it was Chen Qingyin who had saved him using her own body to cover his. Hence, he was only lightly injured. The second time was during the martial arts tournament. His opponent had resorted to a treacherous trick. He was severely injured and had nearly died. After all, the sword had pierced right into his heart. However, when he opened his eyes, he was still safe and sound. Only Chen Qingyin could be seen sitting next to him, with her eyes reddened. She was taking care of him and did not leave him, not even for a moment. Chapter 968. The truth back then. Although Mu Ling did not know who had saved him, he knew that Chen Qingyin truly cared about him. He was truly moved by the things that Chen Qingyin had done for him the 2 times when he was in danger. Hence, he had decided that he would never let Chen Qingyin down. The old master said that the time when Mu Ling was severely injured must be the time when his heart got stabbed. Mu Ling had no idea how he could survive the calamity, but he had always thought that it was God's will and that he was meant to stay alive. The old master is saying that, "Suyi saved me?" Mu Ling felt a gripping pain at his heart, as if someone had pinched his heart. What had Suyi done? How much had she sacrificed to save him? "Father!" Mu Ling walked up to the old master. His legs were trembling. His face was sickly pale and his eyes were filled with agony. He could recall that not long ago, the old master wanted to tell him something, but he had faltered and changed his mind. After that, as Chen Qingyin had lost consciousness, Mu Ling did not ask further. There was once when Mu Ling had gone to see the old master and asked him about it. The old master had merely played a fool and did not tell him anything. Hence, Mu Ling had always thought that whenever something happened to him, Suyi would run away. It was Chen Qingyin who had always been staying by his side, taking care of him. He thought that Suyi had never loved him. It was all his one-sided feelings. One ran away when something happened while the other one was willing to risk her life to save him. Naturally, Mu Ling would choose the latter. Mu Ling and Chen Qingyin were playmates during childhood and had grown up together. It was true that they had feelings for each other. However, the old master did not allow them to be together. After that, he met Suyi. As Suyi was intelligent, smart, and elegant, he could not help falling for Suyi's gracious demeanor. Mu Ling had always been true to Suyi. Although he thought that Suyi did not like him, he wanted to make her stay by his side for the rest of his life. Why must he know this now? What about the thought he had back then? "Father, what did you just say?" Once again, Mu Ling took a few steps forward. The old master grabbed the cup near him and hurled it at Mu Ling. "You get out of here." "I did not say anything. Get out of here now. Don't harm Suyi." Apparently, Mu Ling could dodge the cup. However, he did not do so. The cup slammed right at his forehead. Blood could be seen oozing out of the wound, running down to his eyes. "You get out of here." The old master snarled. "Me for extra chapters. Father, tell me, when did Suyi save me?" Chapter 969. The truth back then. 6-inch manor master. Do you still remember the time when you were severely injured? The time when your heart was badly hurt and someone carried you back to the Mu family? Hearing the old butler, Mu Ling could not help but stumble backward. The color drained out of his stunning face. It turned out that it was really that time. Mu Ling had survived because of Suyi. Initially, you were already at death's door. It was Lady Suyi who has saved you. I did not know about this until the old master told me. The old master saw this with his own eyes. The old butler smiled faintly. The old master did not know how Lady Suyi saved you, but after she saved you, she could hardly stand straight. Even her strength had depleted. Hearing this, Mu Ling clenched his fists tightly. The old butler's words felt like needles pricking at his heart. A sense of guilt rose in him. He did not know this before. If he had known this, he would never have treated Suyi that way. Lady Sui left you not because she doesn't care about you, but she went somewhere to recuperate and couldn't come back. The old butler stared at Mu Ling quietly. Perhaps you had no idea about that before. Lady Sui's strength was not inferior to the old master's. The old butler could never wrap his head around Sui's real identity. Not only had Sui attained Holy Warrior tier back then, but she also had not in the slightest way aged. She looked exactly the same as she was 20 years ago. After all, one's physical appearance could never be the same after 20 years. Lady Sui had intentionally concealed her strength. Back then your strength was not as strong as it is now. Naturally, you had no idea about this. However, the old master knew it very well. When Lady Sui had completely recovered and returned to the Mu family, she had downgraded to Spirit Warrior tier. Mu Ling's breathing was getting more and more shallow. Even Mu Ling could hardly accept the fact of being degraded from Advanced Immortal Warrior tier to Lower Immortal Warrior tier, let alone Sui, who had been degraded from Holy Warrior tier to Spirit Warrior tier. Even after the degeneration, Sui behaved as if nothing had happened. Why would Sui do that if she did not love Mu Ling? Suddenly, Mu Ling recalled the time when a group of people chased after him and wanted to kill him. Suddenly, a lady had stood before Mu Ling and blocked the pursuers so he could escape from it. In the end, Mu Ling still hurt himself despite that lady and had lost consciousness. Not long after, he regained consciousness and he could vaguely see the slim and stunning back of the lady who was a spirit warrior. Me for extra chapters. He did not know whether saying these things was good or bad for Lady Sui. Nonetheless, he did not want to see Qingyin talking bad about Sui regarding this matter again. Qingyin did not do anything for Mu Ling. She had just served the tea and took care of the young master for a few days. Lady Sui was the one who had sacrificed for the young master. Why was Qingyin being called a savior when she did not do anything when no one knew who the true savior was? The old master glanced at the old butler, aggrieved. I will tell Sui that it was you who told Mu Ling about these things if she gets angry at that time. Okay. The old butler smiled. Whatever you say is right. If Lady Sui wants to hit me, just let her. I won't let her blame you. Okay. The old master sighed in relief. He would have let the old butler take the blame anyway. He did nothing. It was all the butler's fault. The old master snorted. Mu Ling is too smelly. The old butler was speechless. He then poked the person in front of him. The person in front looked back. His face suddenly changed too. After that, Mu Ling, who was approaching the line, saw the people scattering away like birds, leaving without a trace in an instant. There was no one at the door of Chin's chestnut pastry shop. There were only fallen leaves, and it seemed to be a bit desolate. Of course, Mu Ling did not know that the rumor was already spread throughout Tianshan Manor, while he was still using the aromatherapy to remove the stinky smell. He could not understand why the people reacted that way and headed toward Chin's chestnut pastry shop. The surname of the owner of the stall was Chin. He looked at Mu Ling, who was walking to the door as if a beast had walked in. He immediately cleaned and closed the stall at the door. He then quickly ran into the house like a whirlwind. He left a sentence before he closed the door. Chapter 972. A scented chapter. My shit isn't delicious. Go find someone else. Mu Ling was speechless. His face then turned dark. He reminded himself that Sui did not like people who bully others using their power. He was looking for Sui to apologize to her. He must not provoke her again. His anger and murderous intent that was surfacing disappeared after he whispered the reminder to himself over and over again. Moron. Mu Ling flipped his sleeve fiercely and left without looking back after saying that. Boss Chun was relieved as he stuck his head out of the house after Mu Ling left. Who is the moron? The young master of the Mu family likes to eat shit. I heard that he has eaten all the shit of the Mu family. He even tortures the servants if they could not offer him shit to eat. Now he's coming out to make people go the toilet for him. What a moron. Boss Chun spat toward the ground and then closed the door again. He would not open his stall for today, so as not to be visited by Mu Ling. At first, the rumors were about Mu Ling liking to eat shit. Later, somehow, the rumors worsened. It was said that 3 days ago, the Mu family's latrine had exploded. Mu Ling had come out covered in feces and with feces hung from his mouth. As a result, the rumors had evolved increasingly fiercely. In the end, rumors had it that Mu Ling was going out to make people shit for him. Therefore, everyone who saw him ran far away. They feared that Mu Ling would give them laxatives just to make them shit to meet his need. He recalled other delicious dishes that Sui liked to eat after he left Old Chen's stall. But those people reacted the same way as Boss Chen. Just as he was approaching the stalls, they packed everything and closed their stalls, leaving him alone outside the door. Mu Ling did not understand. There was just a little smell of the feces on his body. Why did these people treat him as if they saw a scary beast? Was he so scary? Until a few children cried out loudly when they saw him. "Run! The person who eats shit is coming. Let's run." Hoo-hoo. My mother said that he will go everywhere to catch people and force them to shit for him to eat. We will be caught by him if we don't run now. Mu Ling's face changed. He finally understood why those people who saw him today would run away from him even faster than the wind. He wondered which jerk was tarnishing his reputation. Me for extra chapters. If he got to know who it was, he would surely kill him. Mu Ling was so angry that his face was twisted. The first person he thought of was Feng Ruqing. In fact, Feng Ruqing was truly unlucky. Once, the state preceptor had used a boulder to pin Feng Ruquang down when she was crazily in love with him. Mu Ling had done everything possible to get Suyi back over the years. He was arrogant every time he faced Suyi. It seemed that it should be her pleasure that he was willing to go and beg her. But this time, Suyi could feel the sincerity from this man. Unfortunately, she had decided to leave since Chen Qingyan had stepped into this house. There should be no third person involved in a relationship between two lovers. She could not stand her man having another woman. Mu Ling, you said that I didn't like you. Suyi smiled slightly. Then, why would I come to the Mu family? Would I have had a child for you? If I didn't like you, why should I get pregnant and suffer for 10 months? But I am very grateful to you. Without you, there would be no Nan Xian, let alone a daughter-in-law, Qing'er. You won't meet her again in this life. I promise you. I won't have any physical intimacy with her. Why do you still hate me so much? Suyi looked hard at Mu Ling, sneering. Physical intimacy? Do you still have the ability to do that? Mu Ling's face suddenly changed. He had almost forgotten about it. Mu Ling, when you decided to interfere with Nan Xian's matters and also hurt Qingyan for this, she turned slowly and said calmly, I have decided to never forgive you again. It was Mu Ling's freedom that he did not like her anymore. She had left the Mu family without a second thought since Mu Ling could not protect her and Nan Xian. But she was resentful that Mu Ling took action against Qing'er. He had even wanted to make Qing'er infertile and not allow her to have grandchildren in the future. Chapter 975. His Regret 3. How could Suyi not hate him? You asked me just now. Did I save you back then? Yes, I did. It even caused my strength to decline and I was downgraded to Spirit Warrior tier. Suyi slightly smiled. If it weren't for my declined strength, none of you could have stopped me from killing Chen Qingyan when she wanted to kill Nan Xian. Mu Ling had learned about it from the old butler. He already knew the answer. Now, he heard it directly from Suyi, making him more convinced. If Suyi did sacrifice so much for him, then it was not Suyi who owed him. It was he who owed Suyi. Suyi and Mu Qingyan's figures were getting farther and farther. Mu Ling stood not far away and looking at the two of them walking away. His eyes stayed focused on the man's back. Faint jealousy emerged from his heart. He finally got to experience Suyi's feelings for the first time. It turned out that it was so uncomfortable when another person stood next to someone he loved. Even when he knew that Mu Qingyan just regarded Suyi as his sister, Suyi might like him. How could he bear the thought of Suyi liking another person? I will not give up. I will never give up. It did not matter if he could not have sex. He would cure the disease sooner or later. He would no longer give Suyi the chance to leave him. Mu Ling looked back and clenched his fist tightly. He then turned and walked toward the backyard. Inside a room of the east courtyard, Chun Qingyin was lying on the bed. Her face was pale, looking very weak. The light white shirt could not hide the traces on her back. The door was pushed open with one hand. Chun Qingyin hurriedly looked up and saw Mu Ling come in from the door. Her eyes were red and tears were floating in her eyes. She pursed her lips tightly. Me for extra chapters. Brother Ling. She struggled to get up. Mu Ling hurried forward and pressed her down to the bed. He sighed softly. Qingyin, you are still not well yet. Just lie down and rest. Brother Lin. Chun Qingyin bit her lower lip hard. Have I done something wrong? You said that you would give me a piece of spirit herb to cure my wounds. But in the end, you had only asked a servant to send it to me. I don't need any spirit herbs. To me, your company is what I am concerned about the most. Mu Ling's hand that was stroking Chen Qingyian's palm trembled. He lowered his eyes and looked at the pale face in front of him. He groaned for a moment. Qingyin, I have something to ask you. What's the matter? Chun Qingyin looked blankly and skeptically at Mu Ling. Mu Ling's eyes slightly sank. Do you remember the time when I was seriously injured? Chapter 976. His regret for Brother Ling. What's wrong? What happened? Chun Qingyin looked hard at Mu Ling. You seem to have something to say to me. Mu Ling shook his head and touched Chun Qingyian's head. It's nothing. I was just casually asking. It is all thanks to your care back then that I could recover so quickly. Chun Qingyin lowered her head shyly. Brother Ling, you are my beloved one. I am willing to sacrifice anything for you. Qingyin. Mu Ling slightly hesitated. Feng Ruqing is someone Suyi recognizes. Her behavior is similar to Suyi's behavior. I wanted to ask you, have you ever blamed Suyi for treating you like this? Chun Qingyin clenched her fists tightly on the sheet. She loosened her grip after a short while. There was still an indifferent smile on her face. Brother Ling, I understand that I will also need to love your loved ones if I love you. If you like Suyi, I will like her. If you hate her, then I shall hate her. Therefore, I will not blame them for treating me like this. Besides, I was wrong. I deserved these punishments. Her expression was bitter, yet moving. Mu Ling closed his eyes sadly. Qingyin, I'm sorry. He would always think of sending Qingyin to another courtyard every time after he came back from meeting Suyi. Nonetheless, Qingyin loved him as much as her own life. How could this woman survive if he left her? How could he be so ungrateful? Brother Lin. Chun Qingyin lowered her head. Is Sister Suyi unable to tolerate me? It doesn't matter. I can leave. As long as she can forgive you and you are happy, that's enough. I can give up everything for you. Suyi, Brother Ling, the Mu family has not been very peaceful since they have come to the Mu family. It was all because of me. They may not hate you anymore if I leave. Then, the Mu family would not be in such a situation. She did not want to leave Mu Ling. However, she could not stay with the Mu family. Mu Ling could not protect her from any harm. If she continued to stay, she knew that Feng Ruqing would surely find some ways to torture her. No, Qingyin, you can't go. Mu Ling held onto Chun Qingyian's hand tightly. I will think of other ways for Suyi to forgive me. If you leave the Mu family, you will not be able to survive outside. I can't watch you suffer like this. Mu Ling did not see Chun Qingyian's stiffened face at this moment. If she stayed at the Mu family, she would be tortured to death. Me for extra chapters. This time, she really wanted to stay at another place to avoid the limelight for a while. But Brother Ling, Qingyin, take a good rest. They'll think of another way. Don't worry. I won't let you live outside no matter what happens. Mu Ling let go of Chun Qingyian's hand. He turned and disappeared from Chen Qingyian's surprised eyes into the sun. Chun Qingyian's face was pale. Her hands were still hanging in the air, and she could not seem to retract them. Just as Chen Qingyin was starting to feel miserable, she saw that the door was being opened again. She looked up cheerfully. Brother. Her sentence was stopped short, because she saw Feng Ruqing standing at the door. An ugly woman with scars on her face, which frightened people, was standing behind Feng Ruqing. Why are you here? Chun Qingjian's face turned dark. Chapter 977. The wound that never heals. Chun Qingyan did not even bother to keep up with her pretense when Mu Ling was not around. I am here to see how well you are recovering. If you have fully recovered, you should go and collect the night soil. Feng Ruqing grinned as she walked into the chamber. Hearing this, Chun Qingjian's face changed. She glared at Feng Ruqing. Her eyes were filled with resentment. Feng Ruqing walked up to Chun Qingyan as if she did not see the way Chun Qingyan glared at her. Then, she reached out and pressed hard on Chun Qingjian's back. Ouch! An intense pain seared through Chun Qingjian's body. She felt as if her skin was being torn apart. It was so painful that her body was covered in cold sweats. Tears broke free from her eyes. The resentment in her eyes grew deeper now. Oh, it seems that you have yet to recover. Let me check the other parts of your body. You. Chun Qingyan was quivering with hatred. Who do you think you are to hurt me? Before Sui and Nan Xian had returned, Chun Qingyan was the lady of the Mu family, and simply no one dared to go against her. Ever since both of them were back to the Mu family, everything had turned into a nightmare. Before Chun Qingyan could say anything, Feng Ruqing pressed on Chun Qingjian's skin once again. Chun Qingyan groaned in pain, her voice cracking. Her eyes erupted with an intense viciousness like a venomous snake that wanted to swallow a human alive. Feng Ruqing, how could you do this? Are you not afraid of retribution? Retribution? I fear no retribution. Who dares to mess with me? Feng Ruqing broke into laughter. Chun Qingyan could not believe the things that she had just heard. She widened her eyes, glaring at the lady who was smiling brightly before her. I'm here with a sincere heart to see if you are recovering well. There are a lot of feces waiting for you out there. I will come and see you again tomorrow. I wish you a fast recovery. Xiaoya, let's go. Feng Ruqing turned to leave with indifference, while Chun Qingyan was still staring at her with her bloodshot eyes. You have actually wished me a fast recovery? Hee. I would have recovered if you don't disturb me. How would I recover if you were here every day? Chun Qingjian's face darkened as she clenched her fists tightly. Lady Qingyan. At this moment, a servant rushed into the chamber. Seeing Chun Qingjian's back was covered in blood, she shouted in shock. Me for extra chapters. Lady Qingyan, your wound has ripped open again. I will call for the physician to treat your wound. The servant left hurriedly after placing a pail of water on the table. Chapter 978. Tianya, Feng Wu Hui I all right, mother. Qing Han's voice was so soft and adorable, sweeter than even marshmallows. By the way, when will Fu Chen wake up? Thinking of Fu Chen, who was still sleeping, Feng Ruqing frowned as she asked. I have no idea, but I think brother Fu Chen will wake up soon. Qing Han shook her head with dazed eyes. Lowering her eyes, Feng Ruqing hugged Qing Han, who was lying in her embrace, without saying anything. The morning sunlight shone. Feng Ruqing's stunning face wore a brilliant smile. At this time, Feng Ruqing raised her head. The silhouette of a young master came into sight. He looked so cold, elegant, and otherworldly. Mother, the so-called father is here. I am going to see grandmother. Qing Han kissed Feng Ruqing on her face and left Feng Ruqing's embrace with a bright smile on her face. Grandmother said that when father and mother get together, no one should disturb them. Otherwise, I will not have a little sister. Although Qing Han and Fu Chen were not Feng Ruqing's biological children, they were adopted. Qing Han would treat Feng Ruqing's children better than their biological sister. Qing Han was thinking too much. In fact, Feng Ruqing asked these two cutie pies to address her as their mother so she could have 2 kids without getting pregnant. State Preceptor. Feng Ruqing got up and pounced on Nan Xian. She put her arms around Nan Xian's waist and pressed her lips against his. The lady in a red robe was enchantingly gorgeous. Her hair was swaying in the wind. The young master in a white robe was exquisitely handsome. They were so beautiful together, and simply no words could describe their overwhelming beauty. At this time, a voice spoke, broke the silence and killed the vibe. Xiao Qing, I saw a snake hiding outside the backyard and peeking at both of you. I am bringing it here. You! Gui stepped into the backyard only to see both of them kissing. It was such an eyesore, and it broke her heart. Why must Gui see the lady that she loved being treated so flippantly by a young master every time Gui looked for her? Breaking into tears, Gui shook off the snake in her hand and ran out without turning her head. The azure snake was left lying dazedly on the ground. Me for extra chapters. Feeling a chilly aura surrounded it, the azure snake raised its head. Its eyes met a pair of cold and nonchalant eyes. I am not doing this purposely. Do you trust me? The azure snake stared at Nansien with innocent eyes. The kiss scene was so breathtaking that the azure snake was too afraid to kill the vibe. Hence, it did not make a noise. Chapter 979. Tianya, Feng Wuhui 2, it's great that you are here. Go and release your venom on Chun Qingyan. However, don't kill her. You just need to delay the healing of the wound on her back. My venom can't do that. Moreover, you have so many spirit herbs. I am sure you already have some that could work out the way you want. Dumbfounded, the azure snake thought to itself. It was too afraid to say it out loud for fear that Feng Ruching would make snake soup out of it in a fit of anger. The venom of a mottled snake that I know of is capable of doing this. Let me go get it now. The azure snake rushed out of the backyard. If only the azure snake knew that it would bump into this annoying couple, it would definitely continue wandering around out there and not come back just yet. Finally, it has left. Feng Ruching heaved a sigh. The azure snake had always been nowhere in sight. However, it would show up whenever Feng Ruching made a pass at Nansien. It was so irritating. Young master. Just as Feng Ruching wanted to carry on with what she was doing, a servant rushed in through the door and said respectfully, "Young lady from the Zhuge family wants to see you." It seems that Mu Ling has not heeded the things that I said. Qinger, don't worry. I will handle these people. Nansien was still calm and indifferent. No. Young lady from the Zhuge family wants to see young lady Feng, not young master. The servant lowered her head. Nansien frowned. Just as he glanced at Feng Ruching, he could see a glimmer of light flickered in her eyes. The Zhuge family? Is that the prestigious family in Tianxin Manor? Is the young lady pretty? Feng Ruching quickly hid the light in her eyes and asked solemnly, "Young lady Feng, a young lady from the Zhuge family was here during the old master's birthday feast. She looks stunning." "All right, that's great." Feng Ruching broke into a smile. She raised her head only to see Nansien staring at her. Her smile faded. "Qinger, are they as stunning as me?" With a faint smile on his face, Nansien's slender fingers pinched gently at Feng Ruching's chin. His eyes were still calm. Simply no one knew what Nansien was thinking currently. "Young master, the young ladies of the Ouyang family, Zhang family, and Yin family want to see young lady Feng." Another servant rushed into the backyard. Nansien could still keep his composure just now. However, after hearing this, his face took on a ghastly expression. "Throw them out of the Mu family. No lady is allowed to see Qinger in the future." Nansien, me for extra chapters. Chapter 980. Tianya, Feng Wuhui 3. Thinking of this, Mu Huan quickly rushed over with an excited smile on her face. After leaving the backyard, Feng Ruching walked toward the old master's chamber as she wanted to pay the old master a visit. Before she reached the old master's chamber, some bustling could be heard not far away. "We just want to see young lady Feng. Could you please inform her again? We will not leave if we fail to see her today." The lattice lovely crisp voice was so pleasant to the ears, just like the sound of the bells. Feng Ruching did not pause as she continued walking toward the old master's chamber with her arms holding onto Nansien's. At this time, a sharp piercing scream sounded. Feng Ruching turned her head only to see a pink silhouette turn into a strong gust of wind, rushing toward Feng Ruching and falling right into her embrace. "I didn't mean to do this. Do you trust me?" Dumbfounded, Feng Ruching looked sideways at Nansien. Calm and composed, Nan Xian stared sharply at the lady in Feng Ruking's embrace. The lady was too afraid of Nan Xian. She hurriedly stumbled away from Feng Ruking's body. Young master. Young master wants us to throw these ladies out of the Mu family. I have accidentally thrown her in the wrong direction. The secret guard of the Mu family hurriedly rushed over and said, embarrassed. Beads of cold sweats could be seen covering his forehead. Perhaps this secret guard could not even convince himself of the things that he has just said. Hearing this, Feng Ruqing merely sneered. In fact, this secret guard had done it on purpose. All the secret guards in the Mu family worked for Mu Ling. Why would these ladies want to see Feng Ruqing? Apparently, they were here to settle the account with Feng Ruqing as she had taken Nan Xian's heart away. However, Nan Xian did not allow these ladies to get into the Mu family. Hence, the secret guard could not help but do this so these ladies could see Feng Ruqing and Nan Xian. Me for extra chapters. When all the ladies standing not far away saw Feng Ruqing and Nan Xian, their eyes glowed intensely and they rushed toward both of them. Beaming with pride, the secret guard thought that he was actually helping Mu Ling and Chen Qingyan. Hence, Mu Ling would put him in a better position in his work. He could even see a bright future waving its hands at him. Get lost. A fat busty lady pushed the secret guard away. The secret guard was caught off guard, lost his balance, and nearly fell to the ground. Young lady Feng, I have finally met you. I heard that you have helped Gu Yi lose weight. Could you help me too? Luoli had not been meeting Feng Ruqing for a few days. She felt as if Feng Ruqing looked more stunning than she was. She had an indescribable charm that was capable of taking one's heart away. Me for extra chapters. Fortunately, Luoli already had Little Fox in her heart. Otherwise, she would be crazy for Feng Ruqing just like the rest of the ladies. Young lady Feng, I am here as I have something to tell you. The old lattice eyes lit up as she smiled. The lines and wrinkles on the face were capable of killing mosquitoes. Although the old lady did not know what kind of changes she would bring to Feng Ruqing's life after she told Feng Ruqing, she knew Feng Ruqing had the right to know this, even if Feng Ruqing might do something that could put herself into danger. Old lady Luo, if you have something to tell me, please say it. Feng Ruqing walked up to the old lady and held onto her arms with a smile on her face. Well, can we go somewhere quiet to talk? The old lady asked hesitantly. Eyes and ears were everywhere in the Mu family. The things that the old lady wanted to say were highly confidential. Qinger, leave it to me. If you have something important to discuss, I will make sure that no one can hear your conversation. Nan Xian reached out and stroked Feng Ruqing's head. She held onto Feng Ruqing's hand. Hearing this, Feng Ruqing's face softened. She reached out to stroke Luoli's head. I am fine. Don't worry about me. This is good news for me. At least I know that me grandfather is still alive. That's great. Luoli heaved a sigh of relief and broke into a smile, exposing her cute little canine teeth. Xiaoqing, your grandfather will surely return. Even if he could not return, Feng Ruqing would get into that place to get him out. Xiaoqing, it's time for us to leave. When you have time, do drop by the Luo family. Luoli grinned. Sure. As soon as Feng Ruqing finished her words, Luoli and the old lady left. Feng Ruqing watched both of them leave with her hand stroking her heart. Bloodline was something amazing indeed. Not only had Feng Ruqing possessed the princess body, but she had also associated herself with the prince's kin. Chapter 984. Tianya, Feng Wuhui VII hints. Feng Ruqing could never turn her back on Feng Wuhui. At this moment, Nan Xian walked up to Feng Ruqing and pulled her into his arms. His fingers brushed through her hair as he asked gently, Qinger, are you done talking? Nan Xian, can you do me a favor? Seeing Nan Xian, Feng Ruqing's face softened. What is it? I want to know how many forces had besieged Tianya back then. I want a list of all the forces and people involved, both dead and alive. I want all of them. All right. Nancian did not ask anything further. In fact, he would never ask Feng Ruching anything as he knew that she would tell him if she wished. All he could do now was help her. I hope you will always count on me in the future. Let me help you instead of Jiuming. Nancian smiled faintly. His embrace was warm. His eyes were gentle. You know about that? Feng Ruching was stunned. Qinger, do you truly think there is something that you could hide from me? I have tasked Xiao Qing to get with countless of snakes to check the person who had brought Qin Shin back to the Qin family back then. Nancian smiled even more gently. For the first time, Feng Ruching felt bad for the azure snake. It had actually been used to seduce the female snakes to get information. State Preceptor, do you think Chainer is my long-lost brother? Feng Ruching looked up at Nancian as she asked. I hope so. Nancian stroked Feng Ruching's head as he smiled. Why? Why? If Qin Shun was Feng Ruching's brother, Nancian would have one less love rival. By the way, did you already know since the beginning that I am here to look for my brother? Feng Ruching narrowed her eyes. It seemed that Nancian's tongue had slipped. Nancian, you are trying to fool me, aren't you? You have kept me in the dark all this while. I must punish you today. Feng Ruching gritted her teeth. How would you punish me? Nancian's lips curved into a gentle smile. Well, it must be. Without any hesitation, Feng Ruching lifted the edge of Nancian's robe and pulled him close to her. She stood on tiptoe and kissed him hard for a long while, and only let go of him when he could barely breathe. Her lips curved into an evil smile like a philanderer flirting with a lady. State Preceptor, this is not an ideal place as there are too many people here. Why don't we get a chamber and battle it out? Nancian pulled Feng Ruching into his arms, bringing her extremely close to him so that both of them could feel the warmth of each other's bodies. Sure, Nancian said gently. Don't you want to know if we are fighting in bed or out of it? Me for extra chapters. I am fine with both. I want to tear off your robe. Be my guest. At this moment, Qin Feier came to the Mu family, wanting to look for Chan Qingyan. She had always been stepping into the manor without anyone announcing her arrival. Just as she stepped into the manor, she saw the terrible sight. Look at these two shitheads. You truly have no sense of shame to do this in broad daylight. You have actually slept together before getting married. How shameless. Lu Xia, the servant next to Qin Feier, said indignantly. Lu Xia. Qin Feier snarled. Her face darkened a few shades. Have you forgotten the things that have happened back then? Gu Shi called off the marriage with the Mu family because of your irresponsible remarks. If not for me, my father would have beaten you to death. Do you want to do it again? Chapter 985, Tianya. Feng Wuhui VII stunned. Lu Xia did not speak further. Her eyes were still blazing with fury. She simply did not understand why Nancian did not only dislike Qin Feier, but had also fallen for such a slut, Feng Ruching, when Qin Feier was such a great lady. Let's leave. Qin Feier glimpsed at the beautiful couple, rubbed her chest gently, and rushed out of the manor. Growing increasingly desolated, Qin Feier coughed. Her face grew paler each time she coughed. In the end, she coughed up a mouthful of blood. Young lady. Panicking, Lu Xia stared anxiously at Qin Feier. Qin Feier's quivering hand was holding a scarf, and the bloodstain on the scarf was frightening. Qin Feier's health should have improved after having Qin Xin as a drug primer. Indeed, she recovered quite well some time ago. However, her health had worsened lately. Did it have anything to do with Nancian? Qin Feier smiled wryly. She bit her lower lip, looked back at the manor, and then quickly looked away. It seems that I have truly lost the chance. With my current health, I can no longer marry Nanzina. Moreover, Feng Ruching would never allow Nancian to marry Qin Feier. Suyi was so domineering and easily jealous. Naturally, the daughter-in-law that she chose would never be a generous lady. Hence, it was true that Qin Feier could never marry Nancian. Cough, cough. Once again, Qin Feier coughed and spat out a mouthful of blood into the scarf. She wiped the corner of her lips with the scarf and smiled pathetically. Young lady, Lu Xia's arms held onto Qin Feier's body and looked at Qin Feier, extremely worried. Bang! Qin Feier fell headfirst to the ground after walking a few steps. Young lady, someone please come over and help the young lady. Stunned, Lu Xia's face drained out of color. She pounced on Qin Feier as she cried. As Qin Feier had not left the compound of the Mu family, the servant's voice drifted into the ears of the loving couple. Hearing this, Nanxian's face darkened, as if someone had ruined the great time he was having with Feng Ruqing. Me for extra chapters. Nanxian, let's go and take a look. Feng Ruqing raised her brow with a spurious smile. Before Nanxian and Feng Ruqing reached there, Mu Ling had already rushed over. Seeing Qin Feier lying on the ground, he frowned, looking a little disgruntled. The people of the Qin family said that Qin Feier has fully recovered. How true is that? Fortunately, Nanxian has yet to marry Qin Feier. Otherwise, she might have died in the Mu family after marrying Nanxian and made Nanxian a scapegoat for killing her. Who would actually believe that Qin Feier had died from illness? Words can kill. Simply no one cared about the truth. They were only interested in juicy gossips. What happened to young lady Qin? Mu Ling's tightly knitted brows loosened. As it had happened in the Mu family, Mu Ling could never turn a blind eye on Qin Feier. Otherwise, the people out there would think that the people of the Mu family had done something bad to Qin Feier. It's all because of her. She has harmed the young lady. Lu Xia thought that Mu Ling would stand up for Qin Feier. She quickly got up and pointed at Feng Ruqing. As Lu Xia did not attend the birthday feast with Qin Feier, she did not know that Feng Ruqing had beaten Mu Ling up back then. She thought that Mu Ling was the only one helming the Mu family. Since Mu Ling liked Qin Feier so much, he would definitely avenge her. Chapter 987. Have you lost your conscience? IHE could only find someone else for help since Feng Ruqing was unwilling to help. No one was more a failure than him as a father. He could only go to look for other people. Nanxian had never listened to him. Even the woman whom Nanxian liked disregarded his orders. Qing'er. Sui smiled and walked toward Feng Ruqing. She never once looked at Mu Ling at all. She simply ignored his existence. Mu Ling's eyes followed Sui. His eyes, which were full of regret, also hurt Chen Qingyan's heart. Chen Qingyan panicked. Her body fell forward and she screamed. Ah, Qingyan. Mu Ling's face changed a little. He hurried forward and caught Chen Qingyan's body that was about to fall to the ground. Chen Qingyan seemed proud, and there was the slightest smile on the corners of her mouth. However, her proud smile froze on her face when she noticed that Sui did not look at them at all. She felt weak as if she had punched on cotton. She did not receive any reaction. What are you doing? Mu Ling was furious. He looked angrily at the servants. Qingyan has not recovered yet. Who allowed you to let her out? She almost fell just now. Didn't any of you see it? The servants were so scared that their faces were pale. They immediately kneeled on the ground, and their entire bodies were shaking. Brother Ling, don't blame them. I was the one who wanted to come out. Chen Qingyan smiled and raised her eyes. Her eyes gradually turned to Qin Feier, who was lying on the ground. What happened to young lady Qin? Isn't Maiden Feng highly skilled in medical treatments? She has even healed the old master and the second young master. What about letting Maiden Feng treat her? After all, they will become a family in the future. Feng Ruqing, what is the use of treating me harshly? Your husband will still marry a concubine. No man was truly loyal to only one woman in this world. Now Nanxian listened to what she said because he had not gotten her yet. Wait until Nanxian had married Feng Ruqing. Qin Feier could easily become Nanxian's woman using some tactics. All the pain that you have given me these days, I will pay them back to you 1,000-fold after you have lost Nanxian's protection. Chen Qingyan could feel a pair of eyes staring at her coldly as soon as she finished her words. Nanxian was cold and expressionless. Qing'er said to let her dig the dung. She can move now. What about letting her do it today? Chun Qingjian's face turned pale as she held onto Mu Ling's sleeves tightly. Mu Ling slightly frowned. Nanxian, your stepmother is not healthy enough to do such hard work. There was obviously no win today. Me for extra chapters. However, Mu Ling felt a cold wind in the yard after he said that. Even the fallen leaves were caught in the air. Mu Ling's eyebrows twitched as if he was trying to say something, but he could not speak a word as Nan Xian's cold eyes stared sharply at him. Just throw Qin Fei out. Then just beat this servant's legs and hands until they are broken and throw her out too. Lu Xia's eyes suddenly widened. She could not believe the cold look on Nan Xian's face. Young Master Nan Xian, you can't do this to my lady. My lady is infatuated with you. Lu Xia kneeled and hit her head onto the ground fiercely. Nan Xian held Feng Ruking's hand and walked away calmly, leaving a cold figure in the light breeze. I won't allow anyone to frame her. Those who had framed her must repay her. A pair of hands and a pair of legs were what this girl should pay with for her words just now. Lu Xia's body collapsed to the ground. She felt despair. Chapter 988. Have you lost your conscience? She finally understood why the lady did not allow her to speak rashly just now. It turned out that Nan Xian doted on this woman so much. That pampering should belong to her lady, but now it had been taken away by others. Qin Fei and Lu Xia were thrown out of the Mu family. They lay on the street with everyone watching. Lu Xia's hands and legs were all broken, and she could not get up anymore. Fortunately, some people of the Qin family passed by and found Qin Fei and Lu Xia lying on the street. They took them back to the Qin family. When you screamed and rushed over to Qin Fei in tears when she saw Qin Fei being carried back. Fei, my dear Fei, how did you become like this? Who the hell did this to you? Who has injured you? I will kill her. Lu Xia was shivering on the ground. Her face was a little crunched up from the pain. Young lady was provoked and she fell sick at the Mu family. Those people of the Mu family threw both of us out. My lady, you have to avenge the young lady. When Yes' eyes were filled with horror. How dare those jerks from the Mu family treat my Fei like this? Anyone with a kind heart would never do such a thing. I must let the Mu family pay the price in the future. Fei fainted at the Mu family. The Mu family should have taken care of her. Instead, they threw her out. Their conscience had been eaten by dogs. You are useless too. When Yes' cold eyes fell on Lu Xia. You can't even protect Fei. What's the use of you? You have always persuaded Fei to go out. Come and drag this stupid thing out. Beat her to death. Lu Xia panicked. She could not kneel. She could only drag her two soft legs and crawl toward Wenyu. My lady, please let me go. I will never do it again next time. Please. Wenyu lifted her leg and kicked Lu Xia hard. Fei was too kind. If she didn't protect you before, I would have killed you long ago. Rest assured. I will tell Fei that you have offended Feng Ruching at the Mu family and was killed by her. Lu Xia's tears flowed. She gritted her teeth and hit her head on the floor fiercely. My lady, I was wrong this time. I will never take the young lady out again in the future. Her whole body was shaking and she was very afraid. However, Wenyu did not change her mind no matter how Lu Xia begged her. Me for extra chapters. The two guards dragged Lu Xia out. Within the next few seconds, Lu Xia's heartbreaking cries could be heard. After a few hours, the cries disappeared and the whole courtyard returned to its previous calm and quiet. When you glanced at the guards and servants coldly, no one is allowed to let Fei know what has happened today. Qinli had shut himself from the outside world and had been cultivating after he had attended the old master's birthday feast. Now she must take charge and manage all the Qin family's affairs. In the courtyard, a figure fell from the sky as soon as Wenyu arrived. Luckily, She was able to avoid it in time. Her eyes fell on the guard of the Qin family who had fallen in front of her. She lifted her head and stared at the girl who came in from the door coldly. The girl was holding another little girl, and they came forward slowly. Feng Ruqing, when you raged. What does this mean? Feng Ruqing raised her eyebrows. Nothing. It's just that your people won't allow me to enter. I could only enter like this. Did you know that Feng Ruqing is an amorous woman? She has been married and has been playing around with Nan Xian. She has even come to hook up with you now. We are your loved ones. How could you abandon the ones who have been with you for years just for a woman? She had never blamed Feng Ruqing for taking away Nan Xian. Even though she was angry that Feng Ruqing did not consider Lu Xia's life worthy, she did not hate her as much as she did now. She already had Nan Xian. Why did she come to hook up with Qin Chun? Did she know that her behavior would hurt Chainer sooner or later? Chapter 992. By moreover, she could not bear it anymore. Qin Chun, who was her younger brother, was abandoning the Qin family and leaving her for a woman without any hesitation. Ridiculous. Because she is the only person I care about in this world. Because she is the only person I care about in this world. Qin Fei heard what the young man said. She stopped. Her body stiffened in the wind, and her eyes were filled with sorrow. What about us? What about me, father, and mother? Do you think that you are right for abandoning us for her? Qin Shin finally turned his head. His eyes were cold and expressionless, as if he was facing a stranger. You knew why the Qin family adopted me. I don't owe the Qin family anything. Qin Fei clenched her fists. Chainer still had grudges toward them. He truly resented the Qin family for making him the drug primer for her. Chainer, I know you hate me, but everything I did was for your sake. Do you know how vicious this woman is? Qin Fei's voice was heartbreaking, and she was not as tender and elegant as before. She is selfish, and she always cares about herself. She would kill someone just because of something that person said. She does not respect her parents and her elders. She has even embarrassed Mu Ling in public. Do you still want to follow a woman like this? Qin Fei had never hated anyone in her life. Feng Ruqing was the first one. She was also experiencing the feeling of jealousy for the first time. Nan Xian was taken away from her. Why was Feng Ruqing not letting go of Chainer? Why? Qin Chun was cold and calm. He flew in the air and arrived in front of Qin Fei. He grabbed Qin Fei's neck hard with his hand. Qin Fei's face changed due to his powerful strength. Her face turned red and she was almost out of breath. She understood that Qin Chun wanted to kill her at this moment. He was going to kill her just because she had scolded Feng Ruqing a little. Her heart was torn into pieces. Her whole heart was torn and bleeding. She is better than anyone because she had never killed innocent people. Me for extra chapters. She had only killed those who should have been killed. The Qin family had killed a lot of people due to their selfishness. How dare they blame the others when they were the ones doing it? Although the world doesn't know what the Qin family has done, do you think I am stupid? Qin Li was acting like a good person in front of the whole world. Who would have guessed that he has snatched other people's treasures and killed a lot of people? Many people are doing bad things for him out there, but those people have never been to the Qin family. Chapter 993. Probe IIA's little Qing Han loosened her vines when you fell down from the sky. It made her dizzy and spit blood. She got up quickly and glowered at Qin Chin. Her eyes were filled with fury. Don't you forget that it was your parents who wanted to kill you. If the Qin family hadn't saved your life, you wouldn't have had a chance to live. Qin Chin, you are so ungrateful. You don't even deserve to be called human. Feng Ruqing held Qin Chin's hand and walked up to the young man. She stared at Yu with a grim smile. You keep saying that Chainer's parents wanted to kill him and that it was the Qin family that has rescued him. You want him to feel deeply grateful for it. But I'm curious to know why his mother and father were eager to kill him. When Yes' heart started pounding. How should I know? She gritted her teeth. Even a vicious tiger will not eat its cub. I don't believe a parent would have the heart to kill their infant. Besides, you said that it was the Qin family that had saved Chainer. What evidence do you have? Who knows? Maybe the Qin family has taken a child from someone else. Feng Rooking's suspicion made when you panic, but she remained silent. She sneered coldly. On the contrary, Qin Feier's eyes widened with fear after hearing these words. Back then, Qin Feier was clueless about those things. Later, she discovered the truth after hearing it from her parents. Since then, she had always stood up for Qin Qin because she knew the Qin family had wronged him. Perhaps she was actuated by her selfish motives. All this time, she had never come clean with Qin Qin, and she wanted to use gratitude as an excuse to make him stay with the Qin family. How did Feng Ruqing find about these things? Read more chapter on VIP novel. After pondering for a while, Qin Feier finally made up her mind. Feng Ruqing was probing it. Otherwise, she would never know it. Feng Ruqing caught the confusion in Qin Feier's eyes, and her heart sank gradually. As expected, she was just guessing, but Qin Feier had fallen into the trap. Qin Shun was the child they have abducted. Suddenly, Feng Rooking's heart was beating hard. If Qin Chainer was abducted, was he her long-lost brother? There was some joy in Feng Rooking's heart. With her bright smile, she held Qin Qin's hand tightly. Chainer, let's go. To her, nothing was more important than getting his brother back. Me for extra chapters. Okay. The young man loosened his hands. Qin Feier fell to the ground. Her body turned frail. She confoundedly coughed like she had herniated her lung. The unpleasant bright red blood filled the ground. No, Chainer, don't go. Qin Feier grabbed at the young man's clothes. She was choked with sobs. Please, don't go. You are my brother. Please don't leave me. What will happen to me if you go? You were not like this before you met Feng Ruqing. The old Qin Shun was cold but not cruel. Now, he only cared for Feng Ruqing. The others were not important anymore. The young man stopped but did not show any mercy. He lifted his feet and kicked Qin Feier so that she flew far into the distance. She fell hard to the ground and spat out blood over and over. Feier, when you stared angrily. She then called the guards. Come quickly. Come. Go get all of them. Guards came from all directions and surrounded them. Feng Ruqing paused. She kept a poker face and said, Qing Han, these people are blocking us from leaving this place. All of them. Kill. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.